The name's Bond. James Bond. Bond 24! That's right, guys. I changed. I am wearing my James Bond shirt. I woke up 10 minutes earlier today to watch the press conference for the announcement of the cast and the title of Bond 24. That means on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I wake up at 6 because I have a class at 8. I woke up at 5:50 to watch this shit. Now that, what I did today, this is fandom. This is dedication. Because for those of you that don't know, I'm a big James Bond fan. Probably my favorite franchise of all time. There have been a couple Bond movies that were like, and then a couple that were like, you suck. But the two Craig movies are my two favorite Bond movies because, he's only done 2 of them. Because, there's Casino Royale, and then in 2008 you had the Casino Royale Extended Cut, or Casino Royale DLC, I guess you can call it that too. And then 2012 you had Skyfall. And then next year, November 6, 2015, we are getting Bond 24. And the title of Bond 24 is Spectre. Wait, what? Really? Spectre? Now, I had heard something yesterday that Spectre was going to be the name of the movie, and I heard that and I was like, no, please don't be the name of the movie. Turns out Spectre is the title of Bond 24. Now, to me, Spectre, it's a lazy title. It kind of gives away the movie. It doesn't roll off your tongue that well. But it is not a terrible title. At least it's better than Octopussy. Yes, for those of you new to the James Bond film series, there is a Bond movie called Octopussy. And I'm going to talk more about the title of Spectre and what it might mean for the movie in a minute. But right now, I want to get into the cast of this movie. So as we talk about the cast, let me start off by mentioning the main character of the movie, 007 himself, being played a 4th time by the always badass Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig, this is going to be his 4th Bond movie. I never thought he would ever succeed as Bond. He was announced to play Bond before Casino Royale came out, and I was like, that movie is going to suck because he is going to suck as Bond. I definitely feel really bad for doubting Daniel Craig now because the dude is killing it as James Bond. I used to think after Casino Royale and the DLC of Casino Royale that he was the second best James Bond, but after watching Skyfall, in my opinion, is my favorite Bond movie. It is the best Bond movie. After watching him in that, I'm like, this dude, he is Sean Connery's equal. When I grow up and get decrepit and old and have like a walking cane that I'm whipping people with, when I tell my grandkids to watch the Bond movies, I'm going to be like, watch the Sean Connery and Daniel Craig Bond movies. The others, you can still watch them, but those two are what defines James Bond in film. Not to mention, Casino Royale is my second favorite Bond movie. Used to be my favorite Bond movie, but now that Skyfall is out and is on Blu-ray, Skyfall beats it. Casino Royale is now number 2 in my books. Now, to continue talking about people within MI6, this character, she's the quintessential thing for a Bond movie, and that is Naomi Harris as Eve Moneypenny. Now, Naomi Harris' Moneypenny, it's gonna work. The big reveal at the end of Skyfall was that Naomi Harris' character, Eve, her full name is Eve Moneypenny, so yeah, she's gonna be behind the desk. The thing is the reason why I think it's gonna work, I thought her and Daniel Craig had good chemistry for the short amount of time they were in Skyfall together. It worked, and the big reveal brought back a good character at the end. I mean, you saw it coming from a mile away. She even denied reports that she was Moneypenny, but she ended up being Moneypenny. And plus, we get the classic office back. You see M's office at the end of that movie? That is what we are getting in Spectre. Yes! Which brings me to this guy, Ralph Fiennes as M. Ralph Fiennes, this dude is gonna kill it. He killed it in Skyfall as Mallory, and then the big reveal in Skyfall was that Judi Dench's M died, Mallory became the new M of MI6, and now he is Bond's boss. I'm excited to see the bickering that goes on between him and Bond in Spectre, and in future Bond movies for that matter. And I also like the fact that M is now a guy again. I think Ralph Fiennes as M is a good casting choice, a good reveal at the end of Skyfall. It has classic Bond written all over it. Not to, hurt on, not to, what's the word? I don't know. Not to, whatever, to Judi Dench. But I felt like with Skyfall, her time as M was kind of up. It was kind of coming to an end because, she's nearing 80 years old and her eyesight is going in real life. So what better way to kill off Judi Dench's M, who was introduced in GoldenEye and lasted till Skyfall, and introduce a new M who's played by Ralph Fiennes, aka Voldemort. And then there's like this theory among like Bond fans that like, oh well, Ralph Fiennes as M isn't really M, it's just Blofeld in disguise as a ruse pretending to be M so he can take down MI6, and then the big reveal in the next one is going to be that he is Blofeld. Yeah, well, if they do that, I'm sorry to say, that's going to be a cop-out. Like, we really need to introduce a new M in this movie. Oh. He is M, and because the movie is called Spectre, that's leading me to believe somebody else that I talked about in another video that I did a little bit while ago could be Blofeld. We'll talk about it in a minute. Returning for a second go-around is Ben Whishaw as Q. So yeah, he's returning to play Q. He's Bond's, like, gadget dude, and the thing about Ben Whishaw as Q is people bitch that he is too young to play Q. Bond fans don't realize that, like, old people, like, not to hate on Desmond Llewellyn, because he was a really good Q, but Ben Whishaw is a really good Q as well, because the thing is, like, if you casted an old guy like John Cleese to be Q in a Bond movie, I feel like he would know nothing about gadgets. He'd be like trying to figure out, oh, how does this work? Oh shit, that just blew up. Plus two, this is a reimagining of Q that was introduced in Skyfall. It makes sense that he is a young person. It also makes sense in the sense that young people know the technology and gadget shit more than old people do today in this world, so stop bitching. And to round out the returning players and characters, in the front of the house at MI6 is Rory Kinnear as Tanner. Tanner, for those of you that don't know, is like M's assistant. He's cool. I like him. He's a good like, kinda, you know, assistant type of guy. Rory Kinnear and Judi Dench flowed well together. I thought Tanner and M worked really well in those movies. I don't know how he's gonna flow, how the chemistry is gonna be with Ralph Fiennes. Only time will tell. Now we get to the new people. A new addition and new character to the front of the house of MI6 is Denby, played by this guy, Andrew Scott. Now the funny thing is I heard that he was going to be in this movie, but there were like reports yesterday, and only yesterday, that came out. I was like, no, that's too late of a notice. He's not going to be in this. If he were in this, it would have been reported months ago. Truth is, Moriarty from the TV show Sherlock, starring Martin Freeman and Benedict Cumberbatch. I know it's Cumberbatch, but I like saying Cumberbatch. Now, we don't know anything about the new people other than that they're playing these characters in this movie, but there is speculation that Andrew Scott is going to be a villain in this movie. So if that's true, his character Denby is going to be working for MI6. So does that mean that he is going to be like the mole for like Spectre or something? He's going to try and infiltrate MI6 and then be like the mole on for like... you know where I'm going with this, that he's actually going to end up turning on MI6 and be like, nope, I'm a double agent, I work for Spectre. We don't know anything. We just know that he's playing a character named Denby. I mean, another possible solution that just came to my mind is maybe this Denby character that he's playing is going to be an eventual replacement for Tanner. We don't know. It pains me to say we have to wait 11 months. Now, this one was reported a long time ago as a henchman to the main villain of this movie. He previously was in Guardians of the Galaxy. I totally don't think he's that good of an actor, but he's got the physique to be a good Bond villain, and that is Dave Bautista. He is now confirmed as Mr. Hanks. He was rumored to play a guy named Hanks, and now he is confirmed as playing a guy named Mr. Hanks. What that name means, what his role in the movie will be, who knows? Like I said, everything about this movie so far is a mystery. Except who's playing James Bond, and who's directing the movie, and what the title means, of course. Now we're going to move into the best part, and that is the Bond chicks. I love the Bond chicks because they're so sexy and hot. And now we know who are playing the Bond chicks in this movie. One of them is being played by Monica Bellucci, who is playing a character named Lucia Sciarra. That's just a sexy name right there. And then you have Madeline Swan, who is being played by this chick, Léa Seydoux. Here's the thing about the Bond chicks in this movie. One of them is pushing 50 and is still sexy and hot as hell. The other one is like 24, 25 and isn't that good looking. To me, the Bond chicks have to be good looking, and Monica Bellucci, for her age, is still damn sexy. But I just don't find Léa Seydoux sexy. I mean, she looked kind of hot at the press conference, but maybe, you know, she changed her look because, you know, now she's a Bond girl. They'll make her hot, though. I know they will. I went to Western Massachusetts, and it was bad. They got it. And to go back on Monica Bellucci for a minute, if there's anything that the Matrix sequels did right, it was cast Monica Bellucci, because she was something to look at in those movies. Holy shit. But to me, looking at her, she kind of bears a resemblance to Sophie Marceau from The World Is Not Enough. Which brings me to another question, because Sophie Marceau is really like the first bad Bond girl that we've seen, so which one of these is going to be the bad Bond girl, which one's going to be the good Bond girl? Or you could say which one's going to be the good Bond girl and which one's going to end up being the good Bond girl who's good in the beginning and then turns into the evil, shitty-ass, sexy bitch at the end. I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to say it's Léa Seydoux because she was kind of a villain in Mission Impossible 4, but there's a part of me that wants to say it's Monica Bellucci because I bet she is sexy when she is angry. Now, we're almost done here, but these next two cast members raise so many more questions. One raises more questions, and I already did a video on one of them, but he's raising even more questions now. It could all be a ruse, and I'm going to talk about this guy first. And the guy I'm referring to is Christoph Waltz as Oberhauser. The thing is, he's playing a guy called Oberhauser. What does this mean now? The movie is called Spectre, from the earlier Sean Connery, George Lazenby, whatever the fuck his name is, because nobody gives a shit about him, and then the shitty Connery movie that he came back for, we know that Ernst Stavro Blofeld is the head of the Spectre organization. This is a question that I am now raising because I did a video saying Christoph Waltz was cast as the villain in Bond 24. For all we know, he is still the villain. Oberhauser seems like a villain. What we know about the character is that his father, Hans Oberhauser, was Bond's ski instructor in the Austrian Alps, and his father went missing. And now his son, Franz Oberhauser, who is played by Christoph Waltz, is now in the movie. My question is, what does that mean Spectre-wise? Does that mean Christoph Waltz is no longer playing Ernst Stavro Blofeld? Does that mean Blofeld is using Oberhauser as like an alias to protect his true identity so people don't find out he is the head of Spectre? Is this all part of the plan to give Blofeld an alias named Oberhauser to protect the true identity from being leaked before the movie gets released, like they did with Naomi Harris' character in Skyfall? To me, they're going the Skyfall route. They don't want Blofeld to be known that it is leaked that Christoph Waltz is playing Blofeld, even though it's already been confirmed he is playing Blofeld. They want to keep it top secret. They don't want it to be leaked. That means they want to keep it top secret at Eon Productions, and they want to reveal the true identity of Oberhauser at the end of the movie to be Ernst Stavro Blofeld. If that is the way they are going, awesome, because Christoph Waltz is gonna be a kick-ass Blofeld. But if Christoph Waltz does not end up being Blofeld, if Oberhauser is not the alias of Blofeld, what does that mean for Blofeld? That means Oberhauser is probably working for Spectre and Blofeld's behind a screen or something. You can't see his face. He's probably behind the scenes if Christoph Waltz is not playing Blofeld. Which leads me to another question about the next Bond movie, because you can't have Spectre without wrapping up the quantum stuff. And there are now various online movie news media outlets that are reporting this guy, Jesper Christensen, who flat out said Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace are two shitty-ass movies. Mr. White is a shitty character. The whole series is complete shit. Go fuck yourself. Eon Productions is coming back as Mr. White. Which can only mean one thing. What is going to be the role of Quantum in this movie? Because we know when they made Quantum of Solace in 2008, which, yeah, is pretty much the extended cut or DLC of Casino Royale. That is what Quantum of Solace is. It's not a Bond movie. When they made that movie, they had already lost the rights to use the Spectre name in the mid-70s. They hadn't used Spectre since then. They needed another organization. They thought, let's do the successor to Spectre and make it called Quantum. But now that they got the rights back last year, obviously, because this movie is called Spectre, what does that mean for Quantum? Does that mean that the organization that was supposed to be the successor to Quantum is now going to be disbanded, and the organization that was before Quantum in the Bond movies, does that mean Spectre is now going to be the successor to Quantum? Nobody knows, but the thing is that Mr. White is reportedly coming back, and that is a good thing because they need to wrap up the Quantum storyline because it kind of left it kind of hanging at the end there. Because we saw Mr. White at the Opera House. He didn't escape like everybody else. He didn't get up and leave. He just sat there. He's like, yeah, you can't find me. So where the hell is he hiding now? He was at the Opera House. Where the hell is he? And I thought that this storyline was done because I never thought that they would bring Jesper Christensen back as Mr. White after what he said about the series. And now apparently he is coming back, so I guess amends have been made. But if you somehow make Quantum tie into Spectre, that is going to be a good transition of how Quantum eventually becomes the big criminal crime syndicate that is Spectre. So I got two things to say to those stupid dumbass fans out there bitching about the fact that Skyfall wasn't the wrap-up to Quantum. One, stop bitching. Actually, three things. One, stop bitching. Two, This could be the wrap-up. 3, where were you when Thunderball was released, huh? Actually, scratch that. Where were you when Goldfinger was released? Nobody bitches about Spectre not being in that movie, but yet everybody bitches about Quantum not being in Skyfall. So I guess this is your chance. And the cool thing about these movies is that I think Sam Mendes really wants to come back for Bond 25, conclude his movies, which would make this the Skyfall trilogy. It's kind of like it's the finishing touches on rebooting Bond. Everybody's had enough. I've heard enough about the rebooting of Bond. Yeah, he's got rebooted with Casino Royale. Yeah, the rebooting's kind of done, but this is kind of like the final touches. You need to introduce Spectre somehow. The series kind of got rebooted. They lost the rights. This is them reintroducing Spectre for a new audience 40 years later. You can't expect them to just be like, oh yeah, here's Spectre again, fuck Quantum, yeah, here's these guys. They have to tie it in somehow, and that is how many questions I have. That is why I have so many questions, because I don't know how they're going to do it, or how Blofeld is going to be introduced. I will say that the logline for the movie sounds cool. I guess like the logline is like a cryptic message comes to Bond and like from his past or something, and he goes down to try and track it down, while M has to keep MI6 like from falling into like political hands and like disbanding while Bond goes and takes down Spectre. Sounds interesting. Sounds like the classic Bond movies. I'll say that. I am very interested to see where Spectre goes. Cannot wait for November 6th of next year. This Bond, I believe Bond after Skyfall, Bond is finally back. I feel like Spectre has the right director in Sam Mendes. I feel like Sam Mendes really knows Bond. He proved that with Skyfall. I think he's going to prove it again with Spectre. I like that. Alright, so Bond 24 officially got its title, which is Spectre, and officially announced its cast. What do you guys think of Spectre as a title, and what do you think of the cast? And is all of this uncertainty surrounding the title Spectre and the cast raising some of the questions that I had, or more questions that I had? Whatever it may be, I want some feedback. Drop me a comment in the comment section below. And for more reviews on movies, music, video games, and TV shows, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.